This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. The finish line, it's getting close. We're getting close. I really do believe that. And what I'm talking about is the finish line of international and domestic regulatory clarity. And I do believe within that walk towards that finish line, we're going to see the revealing of a classification or designation that XRP will qualify for, that will take XRP into what I believe will be the stratosphere for its ultimate intended use. Let's go ahead and look at the news that's out here today that just shows us we're getting closer to the finish line. But before we do, let me do the numbers and tell you guys to be very, very careful out here. There's been some hacks going on. Harvest Finance has had a hack. Ledger Nano got hacked, not into the system, but into their email list of customer base. Be very careful of anything that you click on. I will remind you that I use many different layers to protect myself online, and one of those layers that I use is to hide my anonymity using a pure VPN. I absolutely love the service, and there's a lot of other opportunities out there too. Let me just shout out really quickly here Jonathan, who has a .crypto name. You guys can check out the .crypto stuff as well in the link in the comment and description box. But he has Surf Santa Cruz .crypto, West Organics .crypto. That's Jonathan, and I don't want to mess up your last name, but it's Negrich, and you can find him on Twitter if you're interested in his names, trying to help you guys out a little bit. And then there was XRP Instinct, who has Sudden Wealth .crypto. And I like the sound of Sudden Wealth, so I wanted to help celebrate him as well. The numbers this morning, Bitcoin's on a tear, which is well above 13,000, so that ain't nothing but good news for the whole space in the current situation. So $13,108.48 for Bitcoin right now, $404.31 for Ethereum. And let's drill down on the numbers. XRP is 0.2534 this morning. We are at 11.4 billion plus on the market cap. 24-hour volume is at 1 billion plus. Little low, even though it says we're up about 0.05% on the 24-hour. And the total circulating supply is still at 45,248 million plus. Those are your numbers. Let's get right into it. So, moving forward, I mean, we're getting all kinds of attention. Time Magazine I covered yesterday with the news of the Great Reset, right? Really letting the masses know there's a new narrative here, accepting things. Listen to this from the Muscular Dystrophy Association, and the one and only, amazingly funny Kevin Hart does a little plug for cryptocurrencies. Listen to this exchange right here during the fundraising.
Hey, Kev, I got someone that wants to know if we do Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any cryptocurrencies.
If we do what? I don't take that voodoo money. We don't take the voodoo, okay? So if you're out here trying to give us the voodoo money, we don't. Absolutely, yeah. What? We do take the voodoo. We do take. Hold on. This is actually it. Wait. Hold on, Jay. Don't hang up. I'm being told that we actually do take cryptocurrency. I'm being told that it's a legitimate investment that's worth almost 250 billion. Okay, yeah. All right, so we do take it. Yeah, yes, Jay, we take it.
I got it.
We take it. Roll the dice on that one. Roll the dice.
Just wanted to know, just real quick. Oh, got it. Okay, we're going. We're good.
Yes, we're going to do it. Yep. Yes.
And there you have it. So, this is the way you get it out here. Look, we're retail speculators. We know about this space. We know about these cryptocurrencies and voodoo money. Yeah. This is exciting to me because it's just one more thing when you see this in movies. I saw it in a movie not long ago, and believe me, it was not a movie that the Academy's going to consider. But nevertheless, there was Ripple and XRP featured in there as other Bitcoin Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. And it was really about a heist on an airplane. It was Not so much a great movie, but good to see that they're starting to tuck it into the storylines and really get people normalized with what cryptocurrency actually is. So let's keep going because it gets much deeper the further we go into this. You know how we do it here. Now, this is Paul Tudor Jones, a very, very wealthy investor who is called markets and famous for calling markets in the past. And he says Wall Street legend Paul Tudor Jones, billionaire, says buying Bitcoin is like investing with Steve Jobs and Apple or investing in Google early. Listen, what do we need to see here? Well, what we need to see is the regulatory clarity, and we're about to touch on that from the international level and domestic level. And ask yourself as we're looking at these things, do you think it's a coincidence that it just so happens that the international and world global narrative between regulatory agencies and huge entities that are internationally based business-wise are looking at this same thing as domestically here in the States? There's no coincidences, right? So let's keep going here. IRS. Here's some more coincidences. IRS releases a draft, adding clarity and instructions. Looking really quickly, it was a subtle change, but one that matters. Up until now, it's just been a check yes if you picked up cryptocurrencies or buy, sold, received, held. Now they've clarified a little further. Instead of just checking yes, they're also acknowledging that if you have a virtual currency and it's in a wallet that you're holding and you send it to another virtual currency wallet that you hold, there is not an issue with that, right? So they're clarifying here. And listen, I'm not a fan of taxes, but I am a bigger fan of clarity. And that's what we're talking about here. If the IRS is getting even more clear and more clear, this is fantastic news for us, because at the same time this is happening, we know on a global level, we're going to step back and look at Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director of the IMF, is meeting with the Business 20. We talked about this, I believe, Saturday or Sunday, and the Business 20 is connected to the G20, and this is going to be about solutions for the recovery and how to build forward. Remember, she had that very famous clip calling for a new Bretton Woods, which is really the suggestion of a new global reserve currency or bridge asset, and possibly the new birth of another central bank, because the IMF was born out of the Bretton Woods as well. So let's keep an eye on that. Okay, that's going to be very interesting, and that goes on today and tomorrow. I will be trying to tune into that and see if I can get anything from it. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. The IMF also saying CBDCs had the potential but don't solve every issue. That is absolutely true. Shout out to XRP Crypto Wolf, Jesus Tejero, Michael Val 5 Links, Bond Crypt, and everyone else who sends information to us. I mean, they really are remarkable in this space, how hard they work. IMF says CBDCs have potential but don't solve every issue. It does go in here. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it really touches on the idea and notion that we understand, and I'm going to paraphrase the takeaway on this, is that, digital payments are great, CBDCs are great, but it doesn't solve everything. We all know that there needs to be something that sits in the middle of everyone's central bank digital currency, because at the end of the day, other banks don't want to hold each other's currency. They know better, and they're not going to. So it'll be interesting to watch this unfold. While this is happening, I also covered this over the weekend. The Federal Reserve and the Treasury are asking for public comment on new travel rule for crypto, which moves the transparency level from $3,000 minimum of really being transparent on who that is down to $250. Well, the libertarian in me is screaming that this is horrible, but I have to say, when I look at what's happening for a growth of a space, I have to say this is good news on that side of the fence, even though the libertarian is going, what are you saying? But listen, you want to see the market mature? You want to see all this great new innovation in tech be embraced? Well, then here comes the regulatory framework, and this is a part of it. And, you're going to have to take the good with the bad. And we're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? So here it is. And this is what it looks like when it starts to grow up. And we're going to have a $250 or more, and everything's going to be reported so they can analyze that transaction, scan it, make sure it's not illicit or fraudulent activity. So that's pretty remarkable. The other big thing about this article is that it also reveals that the Federal Reserve and FinCEN, which already see XRP as a virtual currency, have made a proposal to expand the definition of money in their agencies to include virtual currencies. Did you just hear that? That alone is an absolute game changer. The Federal Reserve, who started all of this with the Faster Payments Task Force, by the way, which is why I've said they're not going to miss it, right? The U.S. is not going to miss the fourth industrial revolution. And in fact, although it doesn't look like it on this day, they're going to lead it. Which is why I believe all the horses are still in the gate around the rest of the world, where they have further clarity, but yet, for some reason, XRP is not being used in those areas with much clearer standards and framework in cryptocurrencies. Some reason they're still not using it to full scale for XRP's real intended use. So to me, it seems like the horses are still in the gate because the biggest horse ain't ready to go yet. But I don't think we're far away from that. And let's look at evidence of that. Brian Brooks, I'm going to tell you what, are we going to end up carrying this guy through the street on a parade when this thing finally goes off? I mean, he has been such a brilliant mind in being able to navigate these waters. And I feel like back end in these meetings, he's probably the MC, even from his agency chair, because he has such an amazing, clear vision about how to get this done and how to see these assets. The analogies of the early days of the internet, when he talks about comparing cell phones and the birth of cell phones and how you don't need to create necessarily more rules or a new agency. You just need to identify which agencies need to oversee it and bring that regulatory framework to encompass the new tech. It's just really amazing to hear him talk anytime he speaks. He says here, U.S. Comptroller of Currency Brian Brooks said, if the U.S. engages the private sector, a la Ripple, we believe it should embrace and demand the model that worked for the early internet. Open source and interoperable technology standards. Well said, Brian Brooks. I tell you, one of the most exciting things I've seen here in the last 72 hours has been the idea of the proposal that the Fed and FinCEN are asking the proposal put forth to expand the definition of money to include virtual currencies. Should they get that, I would imagine things will change pretty quickly from there. And I'm not saying that there isn't anyone else to hear from, but you have to remember back in 2015, FinCEN fined Ripple, called XRP a virtual currency, and the Department of Justice was in on that whole situation that took place and that settlement. And the Department of Justice weighed in and saw it as virtual currency because they were a part of that whole decision. So this is, in my perspectives here sitting in this chair, I must say I do feel like what's amazing about this time is that from the international level and the domestic level, regardless of what Ripple's saying about potentially going to another market area, and they're free to go. Hey, if you can get a better tax situation, you can get more clarity, and you can get this thing going faster, I'll help fill the box. But I think we're getting what we need. And if Ripple does move, I don't think it has anything to do with clarity. I really don't. Like I said, the other areas of the world that have clarity are not using XRP to full scale for its intended use at this point, are they? So if they do move, maybe they're moving because the XRP Ledger Foundation has been shoved off to sea, right? And we're now seeing an independent, non-profit foundation overseeing the XRP ledger. Ripple no longer really sees that and has that direct tie other than working with it, right? Like any other customer. Maybe it's just that for a call for a new Bretton Woods, Ripple might be in line because they started becoming and issuing lines of credit. Maybe that looks a lot to me like a brand new birthing of a potential IMF. Maybe Ripple is getting ready to grow up and become a new central bank of sorts. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Leave a comment below. Let me know. But before you go, I wanted to show you this. This is XRP Labs 2 LLC, which is, the entity that was created for XRP Labs, right? Or XRP itself. I don't know what this means, but it's in the New York State Department of State Division of Corporations Entity Information filed back in 2015, right? And it says jurisdiction, South Carolina, entity type, foreign limited liability corporation. Current entity status says inactive, surrender of authority, 2016, and a registered agent revoked. What does this mean? If anybody out here can help shed light on this, is this no longer relevant? Did they just let it expire? I don't fully understand what that means. So what I'm doing now is a call to arms from everyone out here in the audience that if you can shed some light on what this may or may not mean, because I don't know, but I'm always looking for something. Just like, we pay attention to the Ripple Labs and the SEC filing, and we haven't seen anything there, but we watch it all the time. We watch it all the time. So if anybody's able to shed light on that as well, we certainly appreciate it. So that's where that is. You can go look at it. Just actually put in XRP in 2 capital I's LLC and then hit enter on Google search and then see if you can find anything. Or maybe you're just really experienced with LLCs and you know that this really doesn't mean anything, right? But nevertheless, I think it's the right thing to kind of look at these things, try to get a conversation going when we can. All right, that's going to do it for me. I think we're getting very close to the finish line here because they're saying so. They're forcing the narrative now to where you cannot retreat from where we're going. And that, to me, is absolutely positive sign. So, all right, hit the like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Make sure you share with somebody you know. Check out all the links in the description and the comment section. There may be something there that you want or need. All right, take care. I'll see you on the next one.